As we are back, mate. Episode 14 now. No guest. It's you and me today. How's your
Yep,
week been? How's it all going for you?
been good, mate. As you know, started a new job, so I've been applying myself mentally. I've read a lot this week. I don't think I've read this much in quite some time, so hopefully it's sticking in there. We'll see over the next few weeks how I go there, that's for sure. How you been, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. I know it's strange. I've had an okay week. I feel okay. I'm a bit more
Yep,
clear on my head. I've got some. I'm putting some time and effort into something that I'm loving and
yep,
getting some good results. But yeah, my focus has shifted. Yeah, I'm feeling better.
yeah,
Still frustrated with everything's going on. I mean, that doesn't change, but do I feel and see things? I'm just I've decided to change how I see it and how I feel about it and
yep,
how I try and get through it differently. So yeah, I feel
yep.
better, which is good.
Do,
So happy
yeah,
Friday.
do you think we start to feel better because we're probably close to, I don't know, having some restrictions eased and getting back out to some sort of normal life, I guess. Maybe
Yeah,
that's giving
yeah,
us a bit of a lift, but I think we just got to be patient. I think there's not much else we can do, but it's just trying that last little test of patience, isn't it?
Oh, it's spot on. A lot of my worries also is not the now. It's when maybe I'll speak as a small business, but when we
Yeah,
open, what the problems are going to start? Will people come
yeah,
back? Will the numbers be there? Will you be able to have this sustainability and viability to get through the next few months? And then, is it going to be the same? But I thought, you know what? I can't worry about that right now because it doesn't matter. So that's how I've changed my thought. When
hmm,
the day comes, when we find out when we do open and we put a bit of a plan in place, I think I'm going to worry about then because it
yep,
just messes with you. So I've chosen to park those thoughts and focus what I can do now, and
yep.
hopefully something will come up what I'm doing now. So that's how I feel at the moment. So
Yeah, that's fair. That's probably a good way to approach it, mate.
yeah. Hey, question for you: changing
Yeah.
job in the middle of COVID and you can't go in, and how do you find adapting and changing to a working environment when you actually can't be there and actually really meet the people face to face? How do you do that? So I've heard a few people
Uh,
do it.
yeah, so it's different. I will say that. I'm trying to make an effort to virtually, in a sense. You got the camera there in front of you on your laptop. Just try and get around and speak to everyone individually, introduce myself, and learn bits and pieces from everyone. I think that's the only way I can sort of go about it at the moment. I mean, the organisation I'm with, they've been really good, and the management's been great in terms of catching up with people. Um, you know, at least twice a week, been getting together as a group and discussing, business and not business as well. So it's been really great in that sense. But there's nothing like, and for me, so being in the office sort of setting, nothing better than just being able to stick your head over and just chew the fat with someone or pick someone's brain, just at random. You miss that. You miss that interaction. I miss a couple of friends that I'll be in the same office with, going downstairs for a coffee or whatever,
Yeah,
just doing
yeah,
that sort of stuff. You miss all those the little things you miss. You don't
absolutely.
realise the little things that you do day in, day out are the things that you miss so much. That's for
Yeah.
sure. And I can only imagine for you, Daz, having people come in the door and being able to spend time with them and, being on the court doing something you love and helping other people become better. It's the little things in between it all, isn't it, that we miss?
Oh, absolutely. I'm used to seeing over 150 people a day. By the time I go
Yep.
to schools and transition, all that just doesn't happen. I went to Westbourne yesterday. I was
Yep.
on outdoors, so I did a little bit with them. So it was my first time out, first
Yep.
time doing something that I haven't done for so long, and it felt good. But it was outdoors; it wasn't indoors,
That's
within the
awesome.
school rules and regulations. But that
Yep.
felt good. But
Yep.
I got a little taste of it, and I thought, I want more. But I'm
Yeah.
okay with it. At least I got the opportunity. That's the main thing, and a bit more is coming next week, so that's good. So
Yep.
yes, I miss people.
Yeah.
Even
You
though
miss
it's not
people.
very annoying, but I miss people. So.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. Yeah. I agree.
All right. So
So
what's our discussion today, mate? We're going to maybe go through a concept that I'm working with.
yes, let's do that. I think it's pretty interesting and cool concept. That's reflective and I guess optimistic with what's happening going forward. I think, isn't it? In a sense,
Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
could probably describe it a bit better than myself, Daz. But that's probably the way I sort of view it at the moment, given we've only just briefly discussed it.
So what we'll do today, guys, is we're going to do a bit of a PowerPoint, but also I'll explain it. I'll probably go for each page, try and be as quick as I can. I don't want it to be a boring thing, but just to give a bit of a sense of what it's about. I'll also discuss what we've done with Westbourne the last few weeks online, doing some leadership concepts with this concept. We've given them the structure, and they're creating the content with amazing results. So we're going to get some results out of that in the coming weeks, and then we're potentially going to be also utilising this within the works. So it's going to be within the workforce, school programs and sporting programs, and we're doing some test trials now, which again, amazing results. So looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So let's go through it.
Bring it up, Daz. Here we go.
All right, we're going to share, guys. So we're still learning to do all this. So we'll share. I hope I get the right screen and not the other screen.
That's funny. By the time we probably perfect this, Daz, we might be back in the studio soon.
which I missed, mate. Don't you worry about that.
Yes, that's for sure.
All right, so as maybe I'll go through most of it. Then if you want to break it down and see your thoughts, and we'll go through that way we think.
Yeah, let's do that.
So the concept is about, first of all, let's start with me personally. My yesterday is not my tomorrow. So my yesterday means all my yesterdays, and my tomorrow have been all the tomorrows I've experienced and the todays I've experienced. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. There's a great sense of probably optimism as well. So you can always have your bad days yesterday. And Daz, look, I'm not going to talk down your bad days, mate. Everyone's different, and everyone's got some stuff they've had to deal with in the past. But you can always look towards tomorrow, can't you, mate?
Oh, absolutely. That's why I highlight this as my images. But these images won't be for all when we put them into a concept. So if we go to a workplace, the yesterday might be more related about numbers or working together or culture or how it was yesterday, how can we be better for tomorrow. But for me personally, that image is my story that I've struggled with, and that's how I want to embrace my tomorrow. And my today is what defines me from yesterday and prepares me for tomorrow. So that's the concept. So if we go into a person, it'll be your yesterday is not your tomorrow. If it's a group, it's our yesterday is not our tomorrow. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, mate. Yeah, absolutely love the idea. And it's probably one thing I've just before we move on, it's probably one thing we get hung up on as people a little bit is we carry, and rightfully or wrongly at sometimes, is you can have the bad days and maybe a couple of a bad week or whatnot, and you can tend to carry that baggage a little bit, and sometimes we probably carry it to maybe mark as a badge of honor, and it can be a little bit, but don't let it sort of influence your outlook so much to the point where you're not embracing the opportunities that are coming the next day, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, okay, yesterday's not what you wanted to happen, maybe, or maybe it was what you wanted to happen. If it was amazing, it doesn't mean tomorrow's going to be amazing. If it was bad yesterday, it doesn't mean tomorrow's going to be bad. It's just how we learn. We're our own library. What we learn from what we do, how we've done it, is what gets us ready for what we try and see ourselves doing tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So, absolutely. So next one is, I just thought that every time I do a presentation, I just highlight the day. So it's today's the day is the 23rd of October. No, it's not Monday, it's Friday. So I've stuffed that up. That's all right.
That's all right. That's okay.
My last presentation was Monday, but I've changed the date. But for example, I've lived, so many days. I've had so many yesterdays, and I've had to prepare for so many tomorrows. So that's just to get an idea how many yesterdays we've had and how many tomorrows we've prepared for so far. And there's hopefully so many more to come.
Yep. Yeah,
just
I
give
like
an idea.
Big numbers there, Daz.
Yeah, I know, mate. Maybe I think I had to figure. I probably should take a figure off. It's a lot of numbers, mate. Trust me, absolutely. Yes. I feel it. So this part is where we start to find. I just feel it's just me, but this is what I'm trying to put across. Is 3 important days to me: yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Yesterday's who I was. Today's who I am. Tomorrow is who I want to be. Those images just represent me. So I've got a bit of a story. That's fine. But it's a bit of a clouded, mixed up feelings, and in that storm, there's, some good things. In the middle, here I am reflecting, what's behind me and what's in front of me. And then my final outlook is I just want to embrace life. I want to live life to the fullest, no matter what's behind me. I want to embrace it, and I just want to see that sunshine every day. But I want to bring that into the workforce, embracing culture, working together as an individual and within a group environment.
I like that. And you use the word embrace, Daz. And it's probably not something that everyone does. And sometimes it can actually be a really useful tool. I mean, look, everyone experiences the downs and sometimes really traumatic things in their past. And look, I'll mark myself as probably really lucky. I haven't probably experiencing anything too traumatic compared to some others, that have had some really bad upbringings and whatnot. I had a great upbringing. But sometimes if you can embrace probably a little bit of the downs, it does help shape where you are now, like the today, and just embrace that. Maybe, I don't know if you accept is the right word, but maybe just embrace some of the things that have made you who you are, that can help shape you for who you're going to be tomorrow and going forward. Does that make sense, maybe? Am I
absolutely.
rambling on?
No, and one thing or two is I don't want to. It doesn't always have to be traumatic. It just be an experience. It can be a moment. It could be a decision that went wrong instead of right, or it went right instead of left. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or the outcome wasn't what you expected. It wasn't what you thought was going to happen. So things didn't go in the way you thought they'd go. So anything that happens in your past is a defining moment that helps educate you for what you do for today, moving tomorrow. And you're right. It's so broad. So these words can change, the images can change to suit the need of the person or the group that we're actually presenting to.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you. Absolutely. Love that.
All right. So this is to me personally, but again, we can then change each point. So the idea would be I'm going to write a book on this. So I'm going to have each point and expand on each point into more of a detailed description. But for now, my yesterday is, at times I had no strength to fight, the passion to overcome, and thoughts to give in. Waking up every morning wishing I hadn't, but glad I did. So I was never like suicidal, but I had those thoughts that I shouldn't have had, but they were mixing me up, they were confusing me. But hey, I went through those thoughts. That's why I probably understand those thoughts a lot more than people realize.
Yeah.
I focused more on the negatives and less on the positives. I had loss of direction. I was suffering in self-misery. I was doubting every decision that I had to make. Dwelled on the past and feared living for the future. Complicated my own thoughts and beliefs, lost control of my senses. What I mean by that, I think I've said it a few times, I mean touching and feeling things, the taste of food, the smell of, that the joys of smell, the joys of sight. Actually see something for what it is.
Yeah.
Not just see it, just passes you by, and actually listening and hearing to the messages and getting the real feel of what that message is. That's what I mean by my senses.
I agree. Yeah. The way I sort of interpret that, and maybe let me know if I'm getting off topic of what you think here, Daz, is just being in the moment. So I'll use probably a quick example. I went for a run this morning. It was relatively early on when the sun's still sort of coming up in the sky, and I'm fortunate enough to live near the Royal Botanical Gardens here. So I went for a run around the Tan there, and I've made it a conscious effort for me is to not take the music with me. Usually I love having the music in the ears when I run, but usually when I run around the Tan, I don't want to take anything with me that sort of impedes my hearing. So I can hear the birds chirping in the trees. I can really focus on the smell of the different types of trees and the flowers along the way and the grass and whatnot. Like all those sorts of things just probably ground you in the moment, I think.
Absolutely.
So that's a great start of the day for me, for example. Just something like that. Just so you're sort of just standing still in a sense in the now. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, and you're appreciating what life actually has to offer. It's like when we leave the city to go into the country for a weekender. All of a sudden, look at that, the bird. We've got birds in Metro.
We do.
We don't hear them. We don't notice them. But when we go in listen to that. It's nature. Yeah. Well, we've got nature here. So exactly. And just when I get my senses back, like I'm feeling them now. I can feel my senses. It's like I was outside yesterday and I was hearing things. I was seeing things that I probably wasn't normally would pick up on in the recent few months. So
that's it, isn't it?
That's the idea.
Yep.
So I struggled to appreciate myself and the importance of things around me. It wasn't intentional. It was just unfortunate. Thought I could do it alone. Didn't want to be a burden and didn't feel worthy of the thoughts I was feeling or what I was going through because I survived something that two other people didn't. So I was struggling with all the ways I should and shouldn't feel. Is it right? Is it wrong? Well, in fact, there is no right or wrong. I experienced it, and I should have actually not embraced it in a way where, I mean, embrace it, but not, in doing cartwheels. Just I should probably embrace the fact that, you know what, I can feel this way. It's okay to feel this way, but I had to accept and embrace it. Why would I have thought I could do this alone? It was massive. So
and look, just those last 2 points, Daz. Sorry.
You're right.
Very insular, aren't they? Very insular sort of thoughts. Very, probably the way I could sort of imagine it, and probably talking from my own past experiences with things that I've gone through where life hasn't been great at times is you tend to become very inwardly focused and getting on with just worrying about yourself, not asking for that help. And you lose focus of probably the other things that you can probably lean on around you to help you through that period. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yep. Spot on.
Yeah. It's probably a bit of a self-defense mechanism in a way when you feel like you're under attack, perhaps. Does that make sense? When we feel like we're under attack, we tend to generally just worry inwardly about ourselves.
And sometimes you think the attack, it's hard to, are you being attacked? Are you presuming you're being attacked? Is it actual fact? It's just crazy what you go through. But these points, we could change this in a sporting concept. I've got no confidence. I'm not shooting well. I'm not playing well. I'm not adapting to my team environment.
Yeah.
These are how this could change from, this is my personal situation, but this is where you go into a sporting environment, or if it's a workplace. I'm really struggling with the new system. I'm not adapting from the old system. I'm not being able to get for example, I might be a sales thing. I can't get the same sales as the person next to me. I just don't know how to get the message out or sell myself. Just all these things is where this would come into it. So I'm hoping this could cover a whole lot of different areas with similar outcomes.
Yeah.
So we'll go to my today. So, for example, this is how I like. I mean, it's times that it's not always true, but for my today, I now realize that more I focus on problems, I tend to have more problems. If I focus on possibilities, it creates more opportunity. Thoughts influence what you believe. Beliefs determine how you feel. The way you feel changes the way you act, which we presented this the other week. I don't worry about being perfect because that's something I'll never be. I focus more on my effort and my purpose. I learn from my yesterday, which defines me for today and prepares me for tomorrow. I don't see myself through the eyes of other people. That's one thing I won't do. That's just me standing strong. I use my own vision. I don't rely on other people's. Yeah. I want my pain to be someone's gain, the gain of knowledge. So it's not a feel sorry story. I've expected that time doesn't heal my wounds, so that I've accepted. So I know that it won't be cured, but it has helped me find ways to cope better. And I want people to hear that because you can't erase what's happened. I can't think I'm going to just be like, I'm okay now. Whatever happened yesterday or the day before that or 10 years ago, it's never going to leave me. So those wounds will always be there and they're never going to finally heal. But I have learned to cope better with the wounds that I carry, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. The one word that probably stands out to me, and maybe this is because being a coach over the last 6-7 years now, is you don't need to be perfect. Athletes, I look at a lot of athletes, and we coach concepts or techniques and fundamentals and whatnot, and we say we want to. Athletes probably take it that they have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect, but understand that if you can push yourself at your craft and push it to the point where you can be the best that you can be, that's a great thing. And I think that's probably something that gets lost a lot along the way. And that's probably something that I didn't quite realize until the last few years as a coach in particular. And I listen a lot more around about, players that actually have made it to an extremely high level. Is they all talk about the fact that they're not perfect, but they're just going to be the best that they can be every single game or practice or whatnot. And they actually take some of those things that have made them who they are from their past with them as motivational factors and sort of wear them as badges of honor a little bit. But they embrace the struggle, if that makes sense, I guess.
Absolutely. And you know what? There's no such thing as perfection, mate, because you're still working at the craft. You still got to fine tune things. Still, it's like you're still going to miss shots. You're still going to miss laps. You're still going to make bad passes. You're still going to make a poor decision. That's a fact of life. Life is not going to give you a perfection in life. You're not going to get everything. Every day is going to be different. Every day is going to be new. And there's going to be different things that are going to happen in many different ways. So we can't learn to be perfect. We've got to learn to keep working at the craft, like you said, and gain knowledge for what we learn and to see how we can do things better with effort and purpose.
And you bring something different to the table that somebody else doesn't bring. Just remember that, I guess.
Absolutely. You have your role is worth something and comes with value. So today, I've accepted that I am a survivor. I'm a survivor of a traumatic event. I'm impacted by what the mind replays and what the heart can't delete. As a survivor, I don't choose to go through what I've been through and definitely don't choose to suffer the mental and physical anguish. As a survivor, I battle with trying to be normal while trying to hide the pain and struggling identifying the difference between giving up and having enough. To see what I've seen, to feel what I've felt, to live with the memories that haunt me every day is hard for people to understand. And that's okay. But it's not okay for me, as it means it feels like at times I have to do this alone. Yet somehow I always find ways to overcome my challenges, emerge from the experience with previously unknown strengths and abilities, and somehow find value in the experience and use it in helping others.
Yeah.
So that's just me knowing that, you know what, I'm still going to have my struggles. I'm still going to deal with what I need to deal with, but I want to put it all together, collaborate all as one, and work at how I can gain and give that knowledge and gain to someone else.
Yeah.
If they experience the same, less, it doesn't matter. Not the same story. It doesn't matter. The story doesn't have to be the same. It's an experience. Hopefully this helps you work out, as long as you know who you are, what can you do with who you are, and how do you find these strengths you never knew you had and the abilities that you've just learned from what you experienced from yesterday. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Look, to me, what you just said then around your story being survivor, I know I've known you a few years now, mate. That's probably you in a nutshell, isn't it? I absolutely can see that.
Well, I wrote a thing last night in the middle of the night. I had the prisoner of being a survivor. It's another idea I look down at, where you can get caught up where you end up just being that, and that's all you are. It's all you remember yourself for. I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to take the shackles off. I'm trying to take the handcuffs off, and I'm trying to get out of that prison feel. I'm trying to accept that I'm a survivor, but I'm trying to use that for the greater good, because I got to live. I'm getting to enjoy days and lives and have a family and do the things that some people didn't get to experience that I was with that night. So I'm trying to release myself from that feeling of being a prisoner within being a survivor. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense, mate. Yeah.
That happened at 2:15 a.m. this morning. That I don't know what happened then. And then I went straight back to sleep very well, which is unusual. So,
wow.
All right. So we've got 2 more pages to go. The last page I'll explain a bit more, but this is the tomorrow. This is what I want to hope to be, and I hope I'm trying to get down that path and I'm in that direction, but maybe I'm not. I'm just hoping to be that person for tomorrow. I want to ensure to develop oneself and be immune to change, which means I want to be adaptable, to love what I do and the environment I am in. One thing I am known for, if I don't like the environment, I walk.
Yeah.
I don't procrastinate. I'm out. I just don't.
Yeah.
Right. That's just who I am. I've lost opportunities because of that, but the culture environment's not right. I can't be a part of it.
Well, you can't say, Daz, I don't know, you say you've lost opportunities. You're a man of principle, and everyone who knows you knows that. And if the culture doesn't fit, it's not going to fit. And it's not something that it's probably not a lost opportunity, Daz. It's probably something that you just know that you just wouldn't fit in. And
yeah, I just wonder whether
that's the way life can work sometimes, I guess.
I just wonder whether it affected where I could have gone with coaching. You know what I mean? Like, I do what I do, and I think I do it well, but doing that next thing that I probably could do, and whatever that next thing is, and I don't know. But then again, I haven't probably applied for things either, so it's not as if I've tried things and haven't got them. It's probably held me back. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But it's about that whatever that next opportunity is, you want to be certain that that's the one that's best going to suit what you can bring to that role. I don't know, Daz. I think some good things are going to happen one day, mate. There's no doubt about that for all of us.
I think. All right, then I want to maintain a platform, which I think I'm doing with TS. Maintain a platform that helps guide, nurture, and develop individuals to be the best they can be, which in turn will help me. That's what people don't realize. I do what I do because it helps me. As I'm helping others, which I get absolute gratification from, it's actually helping me in a big way. So that's why it's great for me. Yeah. I accept my past can't be changed. Even though I wish it could, I accept I can't, but can be lessons in moving forward. Not to focus on things I can't control and appreciate the things I can. They're things I sometimes struggle with, which I accept. The only thing that will hold me back is me. I'm not going to let anyone be the reasons why I can't do what I want to do. It's me and me only. That's why I think COVID-19 affects me and probably everyone else. It stopped me from doing me. This is not my choice to be the situation I'm in, but I understand the scenario and the circumstances. The life is a mystery. I don't know what it will bring or what it can take away, because I've experienced that, like some other people have. A day to appreciate that you survived all the worries of the day before. Because sometimes we get so worked up and worried, you think, I'll go through the day. So you don't get to enjoy the day because you're so worried about the day. The next day you think, well, I survived that. I didn't really get to appreciate it. Or the word we used before, embrace it.
Yes.
It's another step forward towards my destiny. And I want to be true to me. I want to always be true. Sometimes I might get that right or wrong. And I want my purpose to be, I want to ensure that I bring value into people's lives and challenge them to be better than they were yesterday and inspire them to have belief within themselves that anything is possible. I want to create an understanding that nothing will come easy. Hard work is required, but I'll help them every step of the way.
Yeah.
So I like to think that I'm sort of ticking some of those boxes. I've got a lot more boxes to tick and maybe some other things I want to focus on. But again, that's just my personal concept. If we change it now to the sporting precinct or we go into the work for whatever, that tomorrow will be, okay, guys, what are we going to do tomorrow? How can we be better? What can we do? How can we do things differently? But we start to collaborate as a group. That's where I want to take this concept in. And I would like to, after I present this, to talk about a little bit about Westbourne, about what we've done. And then we'll fire away. I've got, what do you think of that one? As the tomorrow, does that make sense?
Yeah, I like the tomorrow concept. The one thing that that stands out to me, and I'll put my hand up and say I've been guilty of this, is the only thing that will hold you back is me when you have it in the power. So you're holding yourself back. That's so true. There will be people that you come across that'll try and hold you back because you may not fit in, you may be a bit of a threat to them, those sorts of things. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you are, as a person, responsible for your development and how you want to go about approaching things. That's totally on you, I feel. And the obstacles that you choose to put in the way, the I can't, or I don't know if I can, or I don't know, I don't think they value me, or they don't see me, or I'm not as good as this person. That's all, again, on you. So I think you can control you and you can push yourself as far as you want to go, and you can choose, I guess, to remove those obstacles along the way. And it's so hard to do, absolutely. And I'm guilty of putting those obstacles in the way of myself a fair few times, and I'm sure I'll do that going forward. But it's something you've got to be conscious of as a person, I think, as well, Daz.
Yep, spot on, mate. It's like when you might say, this is the reasons why I can't do it. Now, that might be just you finding a reason not to do it, which means you're holding yourself back. There's different ways where we think is another reasons why, when in fact it's actually just you. That's not all the case, but just an example to use where just know when you're the reason why you're not moving forward in the direction you want to take, whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And this last one, it's part of it, but it's not. But I want to go through. I'm sure we've touched on it. Maybe we haven't, about choices. How they're not so easy to make. Where people, the armchair experts, easy to use, easy to make the choice. It's like parents after a game. Coaching the heat of the moment. Parents got all the time in the world to analyze and think about what they want to say and how they see the game, and players see the games one way, but decision making in the time, in the now. So I want to go through my experience on how I wrote up this.
Yep.
And I hope it makes sense, because what I'm doing here, this is going to be the continuation of my book. I'm not sure whether the structure stops here on the tomorrow or whether we actually go into choices, but I'm going to advance this more on a personal project. But the first all the page up till tomorrow is going to be the concept I want to do and implement throughout sporting organizations, workforces, and schools. So I'm going to look to my right because it's a bit bigger on my screen here because with the medication I've been coming off, it's a bit my vision. Okay. So tell me what you think of what I'm about to say, and break it down for me. As a child, you dream of what you want to achieve or who you hope to become. We go through life process of education, which we hope prepares us for the path we choose to take in our journey of life. A major part of the learning and development process is a very important word in choice, which we are taught to understand the importance it has in our involvement as a person, as it teaches us that choices we make defines who we become. Does that make sense for now?
Absolutely makes sense, mate. 100%.
All right. Now this is where I'm going to go into my personal concept. It's the night I had the accident where 2 people died and I was the only survivor. The night I chose to get into a boat where 2 people died and I was a sole survivor was my choice. But what I didn't choose to do the following that fatal night was to suffer ongoing mental and physical anguish that will scar me for the rest of my life. I was not prepared or have any understanding on how to cope or try to deal with such tragic circumstances. Sleepless nights, haunting memories, anxious thoughts, physical and mental pain, just to name a few. I felt like I was in a storm that I never thought was possible. Imagine this feeling. You're in the middle of a nowhere. Wind is blowing furiously in all directions. The rain is coming down at a rate you have never seen. You are wet, cold, have no place of shelter, have no one to help you, and you are feeling a very strong sense of despair. Choices must be made. Choices that you have not been educated in or understand the impact they will have. And these won't be choices of planning or deep thinking. They will just be choices to survive the raging storm that you are currently in. How would you cope? What decisions would you make? Unfortunately, how would you be judged? Remember, some of you may have felt or experienced such feelings, but for those who haven't, you are thinking this scenario in a calm and timely manner. You are not able to truly replicate the emotional and heart-wrenching feeling that should exist to be able to get a true understanding of the choices that you hope to make. It can't be taught. It has to be experienced, and unfortunately, this becomes the difficult part. Survivors struggle with making the right choices, not only to survive and cope, but most importantly, define who they want to be moving forward. End of presentation.
Wow, that's powerful stuff right there, Daz. Absolutely powerful stuff, powerful words as well, and an unbelievable from the outside for me looking in on that. Yeah, the way you sort of set the scene there with how you're sort of standing, the wind, the rain, the cold, all those senses that you're feeling are probably not great senses, and then just trying to figure out which way to go and how to go forward. It's an amazing sort of concept or thought process, defense mechanism type of thing to go through, where how do you then in that moment figure out which way you want to go and put just one foot forward? I guess that's just probably the one thing that I feel in listening to that as a starting point from there. Does that make sense? So just one step in one direction forward is probably the hardest one to take.
And we don't know if it's the right direction, but it doesn't matter. You just got to take a step. You know,
Yeah.
am I going north? Am I going south? Am I going east? Am I going? It doesn't matter. You got to take a step. Now, you might take 10 steps and realize I'm in the wrong direction.
That's it. Yeah.
Then you got to drift across another way. You just don't know, mate. There's no map. It's just, I hope that scenario really chooses that. That's why I get very careful when sometimes we get very judgmental on decision making in real time situations, whether it be sport, work, it doesn't matter. There are times when we make silly mistakes, stupid mistakes. You think that's just not logical. That's just common sense. That's where common sense needs to prevail. But there are times we need to be a bit more understanding and caring that real-time decision-making, it's hard taught because it's not going to be every scenario is going to be the same.
No.
The result won't be the same.
No, and it's an absolute learning experience. If you are kidding yourself, if you're going to walk out on the court or if you're going to go through life and just make every decision correctly, it just doesn't happen. You learn to make better decisions along the way through your mistakes.
Yeah, I'll look back at, and when people listen to this story, I don't want them to think that storm was that night.
No.
What people probably don't realize is they might define that as, that's the night it happened. No, that was my life when I was trying to get out of or get an understanding of the situation that just happened to me, that I wasn't, what the hell just happened? I was like, wow, what was this? Mm-hmm. Things will never be the same again. How will I be the same? How can I be a small piece of me moving forward? So that's what I mean by it's an ongoing thing. It's a long-term thing, not a one-night thing. That's what I mean by that concept. Even though I did have, and when I say I didn't have the help, what I mean by that is at times you felt alone, you're isolated and you had to recluse yourself because people just don't understand and they can't relate. And it's not fair to them to either relate when they don't understand what it means. They can be there for you, but there's some things you had to do alone. And it's just unfortunate. That's what you got to do. I hope that makes sense without saying I didn't have the support that I could have had. I'm not bagging that. It's just a situation.
Yeah. And you hear the phrase all the time, you don't know something until it actually happens to you, I guess, a little bit, hey?
Oh, absolutely. You can say I've felt those feelings before, but I don't know what you're going through with your feelings. You just got to try and help someone navigate their way through it. This is more to create more of an understanding of your work colleagues, your teammates, your leaders, your coaches, your bosses, your school friends, your teachers, parents, brothers, sisters. I'm hoping this concept can be just twisted and changes to suit whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my passion, mate. That's where I'm heading,
Yeah.
and that's why I think I got a little bit of a. So with Westbourne, I got a leadership group year 9 doing Zoom. Never met them before. The first 2 weeks, I couldn't get them up on the screen because for some reason at my end, I couldn't see who I was talking to. And I had 18 kids. It was like, this is wow.
They had their cameras off, Daz.
Yeah. Well, director coach Matt Healy, who's been amazing support for me from Westbourne. He's been absolutely a great supporter. He lets me do the blank canvas concept and just find the outcome, and that's who I am. I can't be too structured to start with, but I'll create structure at the end. So the first 2 weeks were hard for me. Couldn't see him, so I'm talking to, I felt like, just no one. But I was getting the interest, and then we didn't know where we were heading, but I had a concept and an idea, and I always had this, yesterday's not my tomorrow, to go forward, and I'd already started that, but I didn't think I was going to actually share some of this with the school. So long story short, we started giving ideas. So we break into groups of 4. We come up with different things and different presentations on how we see things, what we've experienced. I want to be leaders and what change I want to make. But then I showed my presentation, and bang, they got into it. They bought into it. So then they wrote their own presentation or their own interpretation of what I presented. Yeah. Well, yesterday they presented all those presentations, and I was absolutely blown away by what they did and and these were year 9 kids. So imagine what it could be for what impact we can have on others. So the results showed yesterday. It was amazing.
It would be an amazing sort of thing to capture right now, given everything and where we've been over the last 6 months now, and the perspective that those students will have. So we're talking year 9s, 14,
so
15?
Yeah, 13, 14.
13, 14-year-olds. It'd be absolutely amazing just to capture their viewpoint on, obviously themselves and how they are perceiving themselves and the world around them right now. It'd be fascinating stuff. And I hope it's something that, with the work that you're doing, just doesn't stop there, because there's going to be so many learnings, I'm sure, that can be taken out of everyone's different perspectives as well, because it's probably something we don't do well in general across our community and society right now. Is this is going to be a great learning that we can hopefully take with us going forward, because I'd hate to say it, but if we're in this same position again in a decade's time or a couple of decades' time, how would we approach it? What would we do differently? What did we learn back then that we can actually apply to the now? So, yeah, that'd be fascinating for me.
Well, these kids were, with what they gave and presented, there's one girl who missed the day I presented. So she jumped on yesterday not knowing what the scope was.
Yeah.
So I asked her to do, this was amazing. It really was. This girl was strong with confidence. It presented their presentations. She then, during that, wrote her own presentation and presented to me in the group.
Yeah. Wow.
And what she got and captured, if that could happen in such a small time with such a young person, imagine what we can do with others. It was amazing. And then we're going to share this one day. We're going to put it into a book and make all the presentations as one. They're all no names, just journeys. All the presentations we put together. But yeah, no, it just made sense. It worked, and I was very happy. And like I said, I got to be very thankful to Matt Healy from Westbourne. He's been a massive supporter and let me do this concept. It's not normally how I'm going about it. Blank canvas. So we've created something from nothing. And we've now got a direction, and we're probably going to use this as a sort of a scope within the school moving forward in the sports and academic side. So right.
There you go. Fascinating stuff, mate. It's going to be amazing, absolutely amazing to sort of see what comes out of that. Can't wait.
Yeah. And what I wouldn't mind doing is maybe if you think about putting one together for yourself, and then maybe we might hear your version of this, your interpretation of the concept, because I suppose if we're going to talk about it and we're going to share it, I suppose people need to hear our version of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah, no, I think I could get to the point where I can whip something up like that. That would probably explain a little bit about my journey. That's for sure. Yeah.
Because I always think that, and I'm saying this is a pressure on you because when people discuss things, they should actually share the content or the reason behind it. So if there's a story behind it, you need to share it, because if you expect people to share with you, well, then you need to share with them. It's like, let's say workers, bosses and employees. If you want the best out of your employee, well, you need to understand who your boss is and who your workers are. You need to understand each other. We set that in team environment. So, if we're going to hear from others, well, they need to hear from us. That's how I see it.
Yeah, exactly. Great insight there, Daz. It's not an autocratic world anymore. Oh, some parts of it are, but it's not really acceptable.
Well, we're at 40 minutes, mate.
There you go, hey. Gee whiz. We chew through time, don't we, Daz? We could go all day.
I actually enjoyed that. I realise now I know where my place is. Look, I do love the CS, but this is what I love doing, this stuff. There's more I've got behind the scenes that I'm not going to put it because it's just content after content. I've got all this content I've always had, and I just don't realise I do it. I don't remember when I've done it. But it's time to start to share it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it today, mate. I enjoy every other day, don't get me wrong, but every other I really enjoy it. It's you and me talking about my love and my passion. You got to share how you thought and what your thoughts were all. I think it was great. So for that, I thank you for letting me do that and you being a part of that, mate. It was great. So.
No, you're welcome, mate. Absolutely great to be a part of it. And yeah, as always, it's fun. And look, we jump between different things, and I'm sure we will. We're episode 14 now, mate. I'd love to see what we're talking about at episode 28.
Yeah, God help us all, mate. So, in summary, mate, what's our thoughts in summary before we say goodbye to viewers and thank them for listening to such an important thing today?
Yeah, look, probably. I'll keep it short and sweet. I hope look, where we are now as people, it's been difficult for so many of us, I'm sure, and we've talked about it so much, the difficulty and the downside of it. Just try and remove the obstacles that you probably have put in place for yourself. Maybe sit and reflect on what they actually are. Like, there's those that are outside of our control. They are what it is what it is, a little bit. I hate saying that. But they sort of is. There's not much you can do about that. But just have a sit and reflect around what the obstacles are and what are those obstacles are the ones that you've actually put into your psyche or your life right now, and see if you can just remove those and get over them. Devise a plan or ways you can sort of get past them. That's probably the one thing I'll probably leave with today.
And with that, add on to that is when you do those goal settings and plans and removal of obstacles, do one part as an individual and do one part as you being within a group environment, because they actually will intertwine with each other. You need to understand that for you to be a better individual, you got to be adaptive to the group that you're going to be a part of. So you got to work out where those obstacles are within the group, you as an individual, and so forth. So I'd probably do two individual and one within a group. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, Daz. Absolutely. Any last message, mate?
No, I'm just hopefully this has an impact or makes a difference or makes sense what I'm trying to achieve, what I'm trying to do, because this is going to be my passion moving forward. This is my heart and soul. I mean, TS is always going to be TS. That's heart and soul. But I'm talking about another branch off that through the Transition Media Group. That's what I'm creating, Transition Media Group. It's going to be separate concepts, but in parallel with what we do at Transition. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, mate. One last question before we sign off, Daz.
Ask it.
Who you got, Cats or Tigers, mate?
To be fair, I know you're a Richmond, so I'm not against. It's not because I want to stir you and fire you up. I'd like to see Geelong because Richmond's had a good run last couple of years. Geelong, get him up there. Gary Ablett, I'd like to see him sign off on a win. But for you, Azza, I hope Richmond win. But personally, I would like to see a different logo on that premiership flag this year than the Tigers, because they're just dominating, mate. And I like them. I love them. I'm actually enjoying the style, and I love what Damien Harwick's done. I really do. I'd like to see Geelong give it a go. That's all.
Fair reason, Daz. Fair reason. I'll let you slide on that one, mate.
But good luck tomorrow. I know you're going to be jumping around with joy and singing around.
Mate, I'll be a nervous lad all day tomorrow, all the way through. It'll be a struggle to get Brecky down. So please, everyone, send me your positive thoughts.
Well, we'll be thinking of you, Azza. So good luck tomorrow, and all the fans out there, enjoy it. And I hope it's a great game. That's the main thing. As long as it's a great contest, at the end of the day, whoever wins, as long as it's worth watching, not a blowout. I hate blowouts in a grand final. It just does my head in. But we're out. So, as we always say, stay well, stay safe, stay strong. If you're feeling down out, reach out. We know things might get tougher, but just prepare yourself, be ready for it, and know that there are people around you that will help out in times of need. We all need each other to support each other to get through it together.
Yep.
All right, guys, we are out. Tears Family, episode 14 is done and dusted for another week. Good luck to either side, Tigers or the Cats tomorrow. For As's sake, go Tigers. And
Go Tigers. See you guys.
All right, au revoir. Goodbye,
Bye.
guys. Love you all. Bye-bye.
See you.